think Canelo has a difficult fight with Bivol next week?
I think he does, definitely.
Why
Bivol is a very, very strong guy, very big, tall, and strong, and he uses his reach very well. You know, I still pick Canelo to win. You know, he's just too strong right now for that division. I don't think there's anybody that could beat him, but he is in a difficult fight. I think Bivol, you know, and I got some of my guys sparring with him, and you know, he's doing really good. You know, he's a great. Tall, he uses his reach, he's very strong, and he's motivated to win.
You think it'll look kind of like those two Golovkin fights Canelo had?
It's possible, you know, plus this guy's much bigger, you know, taller and everything, so it's not going to be an easy fight.
How's Canelo going to deal with the straight punches of Bivol?
I think Canelo, you know, Canelo has good defense, good guard, and he'll block most of those punches, but he'll find his way in. Canelo, you know, is really good at that, and obviously work the body, work him, you know, with the body, and I think he'll finish him in the late rounds.
With Canelo and Bivol being official, how tough of a fight is that for Canelo Alvarez?
I'm telling everybody who will listen that this is a tough fight. You have a light heavyweight, a super solid boxer, never lost, can control the ring at any moment. It's going to be a tough fight for Canelo. It's not going to be the walkovers that he has had. He's going to have to be smart, and I don't even know if he has enough to take this fight and be the victor. But I know he has the wherewithal, so I'm looking forward to that.
How does he make that happen with just 19 pro fights, and you talk about Canelo with 60 of them, you know, against everybody?
Well, you have to realize that most European athletes have a world of amateur experience behind them. So to them, this is like they start off with 25 fights. So he's about 40, 50 fights in right now. And he knows how to box. Well taught, well schooled, a really great champion. So it's going to be a tough fight.
I know he's great, fundamentally sound, and doesn't do nothing wrong, but does he have enough special effects, enough special to beat Canelo? Is that enough to beat a guy like that?
He's a more than qualified applicant. Let me put it to you that way. He knows how to bring it, and he's going to bring it, and it's going to be a long night.
Is there any weaknesses you could share with us going back to when you trained Danny Jacobs in that fight that you saw in those 12 rounds with Canelo?
Well, yeah, I saw at moments reluctance to actually go through and fire. I saw that, but there was still times when he needed to be more aggressive, and he wasn't. And if Danny was a bit more aggressive, he'd be the middleweight champ of the world.
Bivol, he's got the big fight that everybody wants, the Canelo fight.
Well, it's an opportunity, man. It's an opportunity of a lifetime. I think it's a great fight. I think it's a good fight for the fans because. Okay, man. See you.
Thank you, Brandon. Appreciate you.
You know, Bivol is okay, man. Yeah. Bivol is a hungry lion. No, Bivol is a hungry lion, strong fighter, and I think he's in his prime. And I think he's gonna be the toughest opponent that Canelo is gonna meet because this guy right here is, you know, his style is gonna make Canelo think. You know, he's gonna keep Canelo on his toes.
Yeah.
Bivol prepares really well. He's a very disciplined fighter. He's a strong fighter, and also he's a solid 175 pounder. You know.
Yeah.
So I think it's gonna play out a good fight for the fans, and I think, in my opinion, honestly, Bivol is the only fighter in the division that has the biggest chance, you know, of beating Canelo. You know.
So go ahead, finish.
So I think it's gonna be a good fight. You know, Canelo's a slick, smart fighter, but he's gonna have a little bit of problems trying to figure out Bivol because of his style. Bivol has a unique style, you know, in and out. He uses his jab a lot, and you know, he's unpredictable. That's what makes him dangerous.
Yeah, a lot of people were kind of pushing Canelo to take the Charlo fight or the Benavidez fight. But what in your mind makes you feel that Bivol is a tougher fight? Some people actually feel that way. They're starting to feel that way, that Bivol actually.
Well, I can see Canelo fighting Charlo. You know, Charlo's there. You know, he's very vulnerable. Benavidez is, you know, he's a strong Mexican fighter that has the height. You know, and he's there. He's there to fight. So I think that makes Canelo. That gives Canelo the edge of getting in there and working the body and breaking Benavidez down. Even though, you know, Benavidez has speed, but you need power to control Canelo, and they're there. Charlo, I think Charlo is his style plays out for Canelo, but I think Canelo will stop him before the 10th. But with Bivol, it's different. His style is completely unique. You know, he uses his jab a lot. He's strong, and he's always moving in and out. So Canelo is gonna have some problems due to his style. That's the only difference. I don't take anything from Charlo or Benavidez being great fighters themselves, but you know, styles make fights, and I think that stylistically, Benavidez and Charlo will be a fight for Canelo to win in an easier matter than Bivol.
Do you think the weight's gonna obviously benefit Bivol because it's at the full 175? I think when he fought Kovalev, it was at 172 or something along those lines. Do you think that the weight does better for Bivol, or do you think at this point Canelo's so good that it just doesn't really matter the weight?
Well, look, if you watch, if you see, if I'm not mistaken, when you fought Kovalev, you fought him at 175, no?
172 is
around there.
It might have been a catch weight or something.
Yeah,
like
something like that. But you know, and that weight. Canelo's strong, but remember already, Kovalev, you know, wasn't like on his prime, you know? True. This guy is in his prime. That's the difference, you know? The weight matters because Canelo is strong at 168. He'll knock anybody out at 168. At 175, you know, even though he has a lot of power, it's a weight issue. You know? These guys can take a little more because they're bigger. So, you know, that is going to be a big factor. The fact that this guy is at 175, I think this guy is going to be the bigger man, and Canelo's going to have to work a little more, you know, if he wants to look for the knockout. You know, but this guy, because he's heavier, he's strong too, is going to give Canelo some problems.
Yeah, last thing, well, having been in the biggest stage of them all, having fought Manny Pacquiao, having taken your fighter to fight Canelo himself, just if you could give your boy any kind of advice on how not to let the moment to take over his mentality or when not approaching the fight. Any advice you could tell him, you can give him?
Well, look, they're training here at my gym. You know, his team, his management team, we're a team together, you know, because I train all the Uzbeks, you know, all these guys that they come along with the management. So he's part of the team. I'm not training him. He has his own coach and stuff. But eventually, my advice is, you know, stepping against Canelo will be, you gotta be very smart. You gotta be on your toes because Canelo is strong. He's fast. He's smart, and he has a lot of confidence. Believe me, Canelo is a very special fighter. So you cannot rely on one thing only. You gotta have plan A, B, and C to face Canelo because Canelo has proven himself against all these bigger fighters, and you know he's building up a lot of confidence in himself because he's a good fighter. You know, Bivol is not facing just anybody. He's facing the best pound for pound in the world right now. So the only advice I can tell him is this: prepare yourself 100% and be ready for something you never seen before. Canelo Alvarez in his prime is very dangerous.
Canelo's got a fight now with Dmitry Bivol. You guys know Dmitry Bivol very well. You guys have sparred him many times. Give us your assessment on the matchup between Canelo and Dmitry Bivol.
Like I said, you know, I mean, if David's so easy, it's a payday there. You know, he let almost 100 million go when they were offering a little bit less, you know. So to me, that means that they don't want to fight David. They have a lot of respect, and I'm happy for that, you know, because like I said, you know, we're doing something good. So if David was super easy, they would take that fight like children, like right away. They'll take that fight right away. So that makes me super happy. I think Canelo is going to win all these fights against Dmitry Bivol and Triple G, and now I think they brought Ryder, John Ryder.
Possibly
yeah,
the third fight.
I kind of heard, you know, that's how the contract is. You know, I'm not really.
I'm sure he's an option. He just beat Jacobs.
So I don't know. So I think Canelo right now, you know, I think Bivol hasn't been really active. He hasn't been looking that good. So I see Canelo winning that fight, no problem. And Triple G is not the same anymore, you know. I wish that he would come stronger like before, but that's another fight that I see Canelo winning all those two fights, no problem.
How tough of a fight is Bivol for Canelo? I know you said Benavidez is the toughest fight out there for Canelo. How tough is Bivol?
For Canelo?
For Canelo.
You know, Canelo's gotten to the point now. The only people that can be a tough fight, in my opinion, for Canelo is Benavidez Benavidez and a well-trained Golovkin. Not a well-trained in a matter that he's not being trained now. He's got a great coach now, but what I'm talking about is going back to what got him to stardom. Not to be the boxer, but to walk Canelo down. Those are the only people that can beat Canelo, the ones that walk him down. If you saw the last 2 fights Canelo had, by the 5th or 6th rounds, he was like, he could have closed his eyes and hit the bag. That's how easy the fights were. I mean, he just throwing bombs, just throwing like he didn't care. Why? Because those guys pose no threat. And I think Benavidez and Golovkin are the only ones really that can threaten him.